This is Jeff Rains coming to you again with Foundation of Civilization. Again, another week of very exciting things going on, and I decided to take a moment to update you on some fine points. I thought it was important to go through and address some particular events that are going on, especially with the U.S. budget. The new US president is taking a wrecking ball to the budget, and many of his enemies are screaming about it. I find it absolutely glorious that politicians are finally having to, and bureaucrats are finally having to figure out how to actually make a living instead of living off of our backs for so many years. And some of the places that they're spending money is it's absolute fraud and criminal activities. In some cases, literally criminal activities. Many of the president's supporters are gleefully watching as the cuts and seeing where our money was being spent. Although the president's actions may seem chaotic, there is method here. He is playing a game of chicken with the budget and ultimately the economy. Even before DOGE came along, improper payments have been estimated at $2.7 trillion since 2003. From all the fraud and abuse that's been going on. It just simply amazing. And since DOGE has happened, we've seen all kinds of money going out the door into all kinds of crazy locations. $59 million since the new president, $59 million was sent to luxury hotels to house illegal immigrants. Never mind the people in East Palestine, Lahaina, Hawaii, northern North Carolina, and Eastern Tennessee, and now LA. No, those people don't get any money, any kind of millions of dollars. No, 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 no. They have to suffer. And amazingly, this money was coming from FEMA. The the manager at FEMA, I believe it was the CFO, was ignoring the new administration's directives, and she was subsequently fired. Thank goodness. People who aren't doing their jobs, who aren't following the direction of the executive, they get to go find a new job. This week on February 10th, the Department of Education terminated 89 contracts worth $881 million. One contract was paid $1.5 million to, quote, observe mailing and clerical operations at a mail center, unquote, at a mail center. Let's see. There was a $50 million environmental justice grant to the Climate Justice Alliance. There were 167 cancellations uh, of a total of $115 million, including a $2.23 million contract for HHS for equity assessment of existing program policies. Guys, this is just money laundering. These are friends of the bureaucrats, and they're running it through the budget and getting their friends paid off. That's all it is. They're not actually producing anything helpful for the general public. Now, my question is, what has Congress and the Government Accountability Office been doing all these years? Why do we pay them? There's over 3,000 employees at the Government Accountability Office. And apparently, they're just there to review and watch because all this money uh, with all this money that's been going out the door, and a lot of it engaged in criminal activities, uh, these people should be going to jail. If Congress and these agencies had done their job, I seriously doubt that we would be in debt at all. Now the new U.S. president is reviewing all these programs, and he started with the programs that he has discretion to change without congressional approval. Aside from this discretion, it was been well known. One of his big targets was USAID, the organization that he shut down already, and it was well known that USAID was a front for the CIA, instigating problems all around the world. And as we look at all of the different locations that money was going to, the different organizations, I seriously doubt a lot of the problems that we have today would be happening at all. Don't be fooled by the name. In fact, the name isn't really about aid at all. That's just a uh, for them uh, lucky happenstance. The the name of the organization is actually United States Agency for International Development. It was originally founded to help U.S. leaders to fight communism all around the world. It was established by executive order, which means it can be altered by executive order. Other programs that the president wants to change are going to be much harder. He will have to have congressional approval to move funds, and at the moment, Congress is not in session. Uh, this is disappointing since we could use their help in cutting the budget, and the current budget is based on a continuing resolution. Continuing resolutions, and that's something that just absolutely amazes me. Congress has rarely put out a budget. I think 2017 was the last time they actually did a budget. They One of their primary jobs is do a budget. They failed for several sessions now. The continuing resolution just extends the budgets from the past. These budgets were developed under Nancy Pelosi during COVID-19, when our government went from spending $4.5 trillion a year to spending $6 trillion or more per year. Our revenue has increased, and as usual, politicians' greedy habits, their spending is out of control and exceeds our income. They just can't help themselves. Of course, I think that they're getting bribed in the process, and well, they're getting bribed with your money. While the Speaker of the House, and it doesn't matter which side of the aisle they're on, they're all taking money. Don't fool yourself. While the Speaker of the House, Mike Johnson, talks a good game, he should have the House in session discussing the revelations from the DOGE team, if they're to save the money available from these revelations. The current continuing resolution runs out March 28th, 2025. So just over a month. Well, about a month and a half. Instead of discussing what changes need to be made to the budget, they're all off at home enjoying vacations. And remember, Mike Johnson was also ready to put forward another continuing resolution that had money in there to censor Americans. Now, I don't I don't know about you, but I seem to remember a First Amendment that says that I can speak and say what I want. Uh, I I'm still actually I'm not surprised by what we see happening anymore. I'm surprised that the people continue to put up with it. They get up to Washington and they just absolutely lose their minds. They see all the money that's available and think, how can they get rich? Now, if Mike Johnson doesn't get Congress back into session, and if they don't figure out how to cut these programs and get them back down to the right size, if the president can't cut the money that we're borrowing, the government will default on its debt. And our economy is in a massively difficult situation, despite all of the propaganda that they've been promoting for the past 4 years. The yeah, it is not where it needs to be. If we're not able to service our debt, our creditors will refuse to continue uh, loaning us money. Uh, they'll not buy any new debt unless we promise very high interest rates. And there are huge discussions today. What interest rate will collapse the economy, will crush the U.S. government budget and sink the economy? The and like I said, the economy is as struggling as it is. Recently, the Philadelphia Federal Reserve, admitted the truth about jobs prior to COVID-19. Or, I'm sorry, recently, the Federal Reserve Bank finally admitted the truth about the job situation. Prior to COVID-19, the Bureau of Labor Statistics had the Philly Fed had been in an agreement over the jobs. Since then, the two have been rather divergent. In quarter two of 2022, the BLS initially said that 1 million jobs were added to the economy. The Philly Fed concluded that it was only 10,500 jobs created. That that's a massive difference, and it's a question of how they go about checking their numbers. How do they acquire their numbers? If if our government does not get control of its spending, then the dollar will crash. And I know there's a lot of people that will be happy to see the dollar crash and the U.S. economy sink, but I don't think they realize just how intricately connected most of the economies are. The United States is China's number one market. The United States is Canada and Mexico's number one market. Those two countries will go almost immediately. And China will very quickly feel the pain. It's like I began this off with. It may seem very chaotic, but there is method to the madness, and the current president has got to get control of the spending. If not, then things are going to go south very quickly. I hope that you guys are watching and waiting and preparing for the challenges ahead. I know that this president is, and he knows that he does not have a lot of friends in Washington, D.C., and but he does have a lot of people behind him, and he's trying to, he also has a lot of people against him. I'm mostly concerned to see how our government fares, and I'm also not blind to the fact that this will transition us into a different way of doing things. And that will concern me also, putting the power in the hands of just a few people who control the computer programming. I hope that you guys are doing well. Please, much love to you, your families. Be safe. Uh, give them lots of hugs. Spend some time with them, and prepare yourselves for the challenges that are ahead. Thank you very much. And this has been Jeff Rains with Foundation of Civilization. Please like, share, and subscribe. And look forward to talking to you guys again very soon. Thanks.